carried away by the Indian rhetoric, and last year when he was here, despite the fact that 4,500 signatories submitted a petition in which they asked him to look into the Kashmir issue. And these were signed not just by Kashmiri leaders, but also by parliamentarians from the UK and from the USA. But unfortunately, President Obama did not pay it due attention. But if you recall, sir, at Sharm el-Sheikh, when the Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan met, I believe that the Indians were nudged by the Americans to talk to Pakistan. So how do you think we can use the good offices of the US?
Number one, you very aptly said that America's role is going to be crucial. Although they keep saying that they cannot mediate between India and Pakistan, but yes, they can egg both the countries, especially India. We are keen on composite dialogue all along. We have made a lot of concessions also to India. Right now, with great difficulty, whatever infiltration was taking place of people who had viable aspirations from Kashmir to go into occupied Kashmir, even these have been stopped. And this has been acknowledged by everyone. So we have made huge concessions, made huge efforts. You aptly said that at Sharm el-Sheikh, it was America that probably nudged Manmohan Singh to make the rapprochement, to make that statement. Notwithstanding, when he went back, he withdrew that statement under extreme right pressure from his country. Probably in Thimphu, I would like to believe that this has happened because of a change of mind. Because Indians understand that the way to whatever ambitions, aspirations and greatness that they have for India in the regional sense and in the global sense, if they want a UN Security Council seat, they need to have a rapprochement in general in South Asia, but in Pakistan in particular. America has always been handy. And I think despite all criticism to this government, the credit must be given that they were able to win over the US as well as the American support on the K word. And they have all along said that this needs to be troubleshot. They've always held that human rights violations, whatever are taking place in Kashmir, must stop, notwithstanding what you said, that Obama did not mention the K word as much as we wanted during that visit, but also it was the diplomacy of this government which worked, that he did not mention the Bombay incident in Bombay. But when he came to Delhi and he addressed the parliament, that is where he alluded to that, look, this investigation into Bombay needs to take place. So America is playing a sensible role, notwithstanding that we are having difficulties, especially the Lahore incident, etc. But we must make sure that America, vis-a-vis our diplomacy with India, stays on the side of Pakistan.
Right. Let's come to another aspect. I would like to talk about Afghanistan. Now, the Indian foreign minister gave out a statement last month saying that Pakistan does not have a role in post-US Afghanistan. Whereas we believe that in the end game, after the US departs from there, India does not have a role over there. So do you think Afghanistan is going to play on our nerves while we talk about peace?
Well, to an extent, yes, because you see, the more the Indian presence in Afghanistan, the more problematic it would be for us, because it's not just going to be a trade-worthy presence or economic presence only, or a simple political presence. It's actually going to be enveloping the country from both sides. And rightly put, that already we have a lot of pressure on the Eastern Front. We don't want to have a similar pressure on the Western Front. Afghanistan alone was never a problem when it came to any traditional security parameters that Pakistan was concerned with. Any of the wars that Pakistan fought with India, we didn't really have to look at our Western flank. We had an agreement with them on that, but even then, I mean, there are so many agreements that take place everywhere. But if India is there, Indians have also acknowledged their role in Balochistan, and there's also a sizable role of Indian involvement in KPK in certain incidents. So if there is no American pressure whatsoever, which I hardly believe that 2014 there's going to be no America in Afghanistan. America is certainly going to stay put in Afghanistan, but maybe with a civilian interface. So that's going to be the way it is. Yes, the European presence might minimize, but of course the Americans are going to stay there. They have a lot of stakes there. They're going to stay there. The Chinese are going to come in. The Indians are going to come in. It's going to be a free-for-all. But they have to see as to how much can be really dished out to each of these international players in Afghanistan. So that's going to become actually more problematic for Afghanistan than for Pakistan as such. But yes, security-wise, traditional security, militaristic security, as well as other parameters of security, we'll have to be very wary of what kind of a role India has to play. Pakistan has definitely a very strong role to play in the future security architecture of Afghanistan. There is no illusion to the strategic depth theory that we have supported for so long, but we are their strategic depth and they're our strategic depth,
right,
in whatever terms.
Right. So how do you see India's role in Afghanistan, sir? Is there any role for it?
We would want, no, there should be no role at all. But the reality on ground is that India has a stake in Afghanistan. Iran has a stake in Afghanistan. Both these nations in Afghanistan are tending to be our adversaries, and India being number one. So Pakistan must make sure that while we pursue our strategic depth concept in Afghanistan, we should pursue it to an extent that India should be excluded from their domination. For example, they're building roads, etc. over there. But so many consulates on the border of Pakistan do not augur well for our security. Of course, I agree that America is going to stay there for some time. But
in fact, Karzai has said that the US has asked them for permanent bases over
absolutely. There. And you very, very aptly said that in the post-American role, Afghanistan especially, India should have no role over there. But we will have to accept some reality on ground. We must minimize it to whatever extent we can. And you very rightly said that we must keep America on our side. If America is not on our side, then Northern Alliance is going to be promoted, India is going to be promoted, and we will get into bigger difficulties.
So since we are getting to the end of the program, your concluding comments before I ask the professor.
I think composite dialogue opening is a good omen. We should insist that whatever has been decided earlier on or agreed upon should again be brought onto the table in the same format, and that a ways at least maybe Sir Creek, Siachen could be gotten out of the way. Kashmir must be pursued, but we must insist in the composite dialogue that the UN Security Council resolutions and the plebiscite for Pakistan to remain relevant is the key issue.
Your concluding comments?
I would say more or less the same thoughts that yes, the process has to continue whatever the nomenclature. The same issue areas that had been discussed prior to Mumbai should once again be brought out on the table, and the progress that had been made, the issues should move further than that rather than starting from the very start. For example, Sir Creek, Siachen were very close to a settlement, and then everything halted. There is a need for more progress, for more people-to-people exchange and openings, such as more road links, trade and all. If we develop positive synergies on the eastern front, there's going to be less pressure for us to handle on the western front as well. We can counterbalance this. It's a very delicate game that we have to play, but the future Pakistan has to face India, Iran, America, which is a very big actor in the game, as such China as well, because of the positive role that they have, but an increasing role in the region. And we have to counterbalance all of these powers in the region. So we have to play a very, very strong and a delicate diplomatic game, and the better the energies and the positive the energies are for us, the better it would be.
Right.
Thank you.
So viewers, with that we come to the end of this very intense debate, and we have had a very good discussion. We conclude that the power potential of both India and Pakistan cannot be achieved as long as we are at daggers drawn. And more so for India, which is aspiring to become not only a regional power, but a global superpower. It needs to show more maturity and talk about peace, and not just talk about it. Make such concessions like Kashmir, like Sir Creek, like the water problems, to ensure that peace returns to the region. Without it, India does not have a seat in the Security Council of the United Nations, and Pakistan cannot prosper further if its forces and its energies are broiled towards fighting India. Therefore, we must give peace a piece of chance. And I would like to thank Air Marshal Masood for your very cogent comments and Professor Salma Malik for your very kind ideas. Thank you so much. Viewers, please send us your comments at defenseanddiplomacy@ptv.com.pk. See you next week, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.